The mass migration of TikTok refugees into Xiaohongshu or Red Note is a monumental event in our social media history. I'm sure the irony of millions of TikTok users from the land of freedom and personal liberty willingly signing on to an app created and managed by the Chinese Communist Party and named after a literate book promoting Marxist and Maoist thoughts just to spite their government tells of the failing influence of anti-China rhetoric and the rise of left-leaning economic voices in America. In fact, organizing the struggle of millions of dissatisfied Americans and mobilizing them to Xiaohongshu against the abuses of the capitalists is fundamentally a proletariat revolution of the social media kind. But what is the cause of this deep-seated dissatisfaction? Rooted in the European American cultural tradition is the idea of personal liberty, freedom, and the autonomy of the individual, which manifests itself in the modern day as paradigms such as human rights, universal adult franchise, and representative government. So, what is the motivation pushing people that come from such a tradition into a completely different and often conflicting tradition with completely different paradigm of good governance? So I trawl trending videos on TikTok and Red Note, looking for reasons, looking for patterns of motivation behind the rise of this movement. Many, I notice, are disappointed with capitalists manipulating their government in restricting their rights to free speech and conscience. Some are awakening from the realization that they themselves are living behind a wall of anti-China rhetoric. But I suspect these motivations in and of itself is inadequate to explain the disenfranchisement, the dissatisfaction that I see in so many content creators from the States, especially considering the fact that censorship, both good and bad, warranted and unwarranted, are octaves more strict in Xiaohongshu than in any other Western media. But trending topics on Xiaohongshu on the initial days informed me of a more deep-rooted reasons. And one of those topics that were trending heavily is grocery haul. Many Americans are shocked to find out the prices of groceries and by extension healthcare and other basic necessities in China are much more affordable even after income adjustments. This dissatisfaction displayed online is a product of inequitable distribution of resources and unmitigated rising cost of living. Many people are struggling just to sustain the lifestyle they have had, let alone being optimistic about the future. And until this root cause is solved, no amount of banning of apps will stop the Americans and their march towards the left.